because you are confusing concession.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. You are speaking immediately after me.
No reply.
So you can do all your objections. Yes. So we want to say the people of this country are not only meant to be singing and dancing for political leaders. They should be seen benefiting from the policies we make, from the decisions we take that will affect the economy, that will affect their well-being, and that will make the country better for them. I pray that further measures will be taken to ensure that we ease the burden on Sierra Leoneans. As I speak, Mr. Speaker, things are not comfortable. They are not easy with the mere Sierra Leonean. We had our colleagues here when they were debating. They spoke about the conditions of teachers. They spoke about the conditions of police officers. They spoke about the conditions. So cutting government expenditure to ensure that we take care of these very serious things is very good. Nobody's well taken care of. My honorable, nobody's well taken care of. You would not know except you interact with them. So we want to support the passing of this budget and hope that the minister takes into consideration most of the points we raised. So on behalf of the opposition, I want us to join hands with the ruling bench over there to ensure that this budget is passed, but with key observations to points that we've made on this very side. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Leader of the Opposition, Leader of Government Business.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Honor, which answer the others. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I thank you very much for your various contributions, and you agree with me that one thing that is clear, we said we need to have passed this budget, which some questions that you have also proposed. No, I did not hear you giving any questions, which I will do. That means a question that has to do with the budget in the interest of making economic growth in this country. And we do not intend to see as if we are supporting you because we are governing bench. We are speaking the fact to the reality on the ground. So in this morning, when I was debating, I made my projections based on what he brought to this house in 2002, 2003, I know 2023. But let me now refer you back to your predecessor, Mr. Gigi Safa. When we took over governance, he brought in supplementary budget. He did not bring any new budget because government is a continuation. Remember the first paragraph, the first page, he said, we are not resorting to bank borrowing. We are not resorting to bank borrowing, creating the financial difficulties within the administration. We are bringing in fiscal discipline, which we can maintain and consolidate our gains that we are going to make. So, we open the single treasury account so that we can service our agenda, our priorities areas that has to do with education, agriculture, etc., etc. That's what exactly he put to us. Now, coming down the line, and we said in the fiscal statement you brought to lay in this house, we projected also in reducing the inflation rate. And from that administration since 2016, 15, 16, 17, when we took governance, we said yes, we accepted the fact that there are problems within the system. We have the fact that there are economic challenges within the system. That is all over the world. After Ebola, we had a series of shocks within the system. So we said we want to reduce inflation to a single digit. But we said we cannot do it now. And he laid down the principles of how do we achieve in terms of reversing the inflation rate. It's nothing that you can today say it and it happens. It has to do with policies and fiscal disciplines all over. So you and your team, I want to say thank you very much and salute you. You came with your budget in 2023. I am happy to say you are a very honest minister. Indeed, you are a honest minister. We talk about which of states I come to that. I'm just making so people can understand. You made it very clear. You talk about why do we need to mobilize domestic revenues so we can be able to support our own budget vis-a-vis that for the GDP. You also state that we need to do certain plans in terms of resource mobilizations. And in fact, what you refer to, we mentioned which have started, you talk about the blue economy. In fact, your last budget focused on blue economy. I don't understand why you talk about blue economy, so we all know about that. You took your time to explain to us. So if we look at the blue economy, which you are not paying more attention to, we can succeed in doing it. And based on what you brought before us, we will see what is happening in that direction. Now let's come to what you talked to us about under the macroeconomic and budgetary performance this year, considering the one budget year. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, before I start to make reference to the decline in inflation, he mentioned something I want to clarify again. He said we have the debt rate, the debt rate at debt service. We are incurring more debt than ever before. The budget you have read, Mr. Speaker, for correction, let me go to the schedule. Let's go to the schedule. We need to clarify some of these things before it gets to the public when they cannot understand. It's clearly stated, this is the document before us. If it is false, we hold it responsible. Why did you bring false document to Parliament? So I want the opposition to read, not to make political statements, but to live with the facts, so people can understand that you are reading the right thing. So he said under Annex 1, Roman figure 3, you look at overall deficit cash on cash basis. If you go on the financial year, FY20, are you with me, sir? If you go on that is the particulars of the agreed exactly what we have in the table in the schedule. Overall deficit in bracket cash, including grants, when he was talking about grants alone. What you are doing now, Mr. Minister, you know what you are doing? You are doing what you call concessional loans and grants. You are negotiating on behalf of this country. You know what you are doing? You are doing commercial loans. We are not discussing it. No concessions are given. They will just sign because all the idea is to come and eat the money. All the idea to grant what you are paid to loans, they cannot implement. We ratify in this house over $60 million worth of grants and loans given to agricultural ministry through the Union Trust Bank. We did that through Union Trust Bank. You know what they did in the administration while I was in the opposition? They took my father's farm, oil plantation. They used it. That was funded by us. I saw it on TV. I challenged them that I will not accept that one. I was in the opposition. You are using us as front. So they are all basis, not just concessional loans, but also discussing loan, commercial loan that can benefit their pockets, not us. My father is a very good person in oil plantation. When I saw it on the TV, I recommended my dad, don't never do that. Don't use our personal property so our government can come and be blocked around. So you stop that. So what you have done in this concessional loans agreement, you have negotiated for this to approve, like this is my reference, the one we have just ratified. We said oil palm, cassava, and infant foods. So what you are doing is to make sure we are consistent in what you have brought before us. That's how powerful your administration is. We don't believe in rhetoric. Today they are talking about austerity because you politicize austerity. You politicize it. We told you don't do it. Austerity on general terms is applied everywhere in the world, even the greatest economy in the world, America. But for the edification of this house, I will now read what we mean by the Google definition, economic austerity, so we can understand before you come to define it to us. Mr. Speaker, I said the last time, Mr. Speaker, thank you, Honorable our Deputy Speaker. I have said we should not politicize certain things within our administration and also in our governance, because it will haunt us one day. They are busy defending the audit report. Why is busy exposing them? Are you vote controller defending the audit report? You are not vote controller. We told them today we have encouraged yes, there are challenges. But he's doing the right thing, Deputy Speaker, the chairman for the audit report committee. He's doing the right thing. We cannot be comfortable with it. But how it goes, that's what is called governance. It's not every day you are going to be comforted. No, it's not. Mr. Speaker, let me now draw your attention to this one. Because you are talking about austerity. You politicize austerity, and we question you. Austerity is just a terminology to make you comfortable when you are talking about economy. Now, economic austerity, a set of economic policies usually consisting of tax increase is not already produced. I read it because I wanted to get the identification. Not only digital reduction, tax increases, spending cuts, or a combination of the two. Now, used by government to reduce budget deficits. Mr. Minister, since he started coming to this house, he has talked about budget deficits over and over. You know why you increase? You increase to have more revenue. And you service of debt. The debt you are seeing now, the security debt you are seeing now, is the debt that they incurred in this house, where is the governance. John Benjamin, the former Minister of Finance, when they took governance on what standing orders, I will not sit down to you, tell you what standing orders.
I didn't ask you for standing orders. Mr. Speaker, yes, what also Mr. Speaker spoke of the essence of making corrections whilst we are speaking to make sure that the public is well informed. I want to correct my leader here. If you can go through the IMF debt sustainability report that they do annually, from 2018, 2019, we had moderate hits of debt distress. Going to 2020, 2021, we went into high hits of debt distress. So the debt that we have gone to, the high risk is incurred by this government and no other government. I want to make that clear.
Thank you very much. We have not denied any type of debt incurred. We have not. Have we denied? No. We have not denied. When you took governance, by then you are not in parliament. You are busy in the classroom. I was here. You took class. I was here. I don't know when you are teaching or you are preaching.
I have never thought before.
Mr. Speaker, debt, when you took it was zero. We left reserve, the records are here. Check the bank governance here.
Again, Mr. Speaker, for the sake of the edification of this house, our external debt has never gone to zero in the history of Sierra Leone. Even when there was a debt cancellation for Tijan Kaba, for the late President Kaba, not all our debts were cancelled. I want that to be in record also.
You know, if you listen to me very well. Mr. Speaker, you know, I did not talk about it. I said our debts I did not classify. Oh, the records are referred to the bank government. I said it was zero debt. We took care of our domestic debt. That's what I refer to. I did not. You cannot wipe out external debt. No, you can negotiate it. Our domestic debt, we brought it down to zero. I did not talk about external debt. You should have waited. Let me finish to make my point. You did not wait.
Mr. Leader, sorry, sir. I hate interjection. That is not part of me. But I'm constrained because of the edification of the listening public. Nor our external debt, neither our internal debt has ever gone to zero in the history of Salon. Go and check and prove.
Mr. Speaker, the document presented to the land is very clear that our debt, the one that we incur, domestic debt, when we took governance, when they took governance, we gave them zero. Let them check. Our reserve was over 500 billion in local currency. And we had our foreign reserve. Our foreign reserve is also $1 million. They know that. That was presented to the administration. So the debt you are talking about to be incurred is for the administration that they don't trust. From 2018, from 2022,
I pray, Mr. Speaker, I pray this is my last interjection.
Mr.
When we
Speaker,
get office, Mr. Deputy.
Sorry, sir. Mr. Speaker, this is an unprecedented.
Yes, for the edification of those.
Hold on. Yes, please. Hold on. I think this is an unprecedented procedural parliamentary.
Incidental is being done by leaders.
But Mr. Speaker, if it is done by leaders, the leaders are informed to teach those at the back the procedures of parliament. And the procedures of parliament require you to stand on the standing order. And if you are standing on a particular standing order, if you are rising on 34, you are only allowed to elucidate a point you have made that the person or the debater is skewing to his interest. But the leader is making a point completely different from what he has submitted, and the interjection is not helping the public. But the public, I'm sorry, I'm still on my legs. The public is not understanding the debate. Not even us sitting here understanding the debate. We don't understand the purpose of the leader's debate. We don't understand the content, because when he makes one statement, the leader on the other side will interject, and this is not parliamentary.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Speaker, all of us were here, including the strangers. They were all here when our men were being interjected. The Deputy Speaker had this very close. He had this very standing order, but he did not make mention of it. Except when the leader now is, I told you, in fact, before I spoke, I said there will be some high level of reciprocity for me. When he interjected me, I did say so. And that is what I'm doing. The laws are, this is the problem. They cherry pick the laws they implement based on who the law affects, and that is not governance. You should have said that when I was doing it. You should have said that when you did it. Now to my point with the leader, the import cover that he's speaking of. When we were leaving PAR in 2018, we left 3 months of import cover. And now we only have 1.8 months of import cover for the verification.
You know, you can never accept anything that is true that will give us facts and fees to the public. As I said, when I made my point, I made my point based on reference I made to you. That if you challenge some of these facts, check with the Bank of Sierra Leone. And we are very systematic in discharging our issues in terms of governance, in terms of our economic policies. As I said it earlier, you cannot really make me to just shift my point. I can continue to make my point and also speak to the note in front of us. And I will be consistent with what I have presented to this House. As I said, in 2018, when we took governance, we are in governance, we are in charge. Whether you like it or not, today the inflation rate is at single digits. They tried to fix it, it didn't fix, because they had poor economic management, poor economic policies. So I refer to them for better execution. I said, if you want to achieve, first accept the things that you have, the challenges, and proffer solutions. So what you have done, the solution that you have proffered is giving us dividend to me. Good solutions all over the world. That's why I read the meaning of austerity, economic austerity. Mr. Minister, economic austerity, which I have defined, everybody knows. You are talking about reduction. You came and politicized it. We said, no. Every time we are here discussing budget, we must talk about austerity in the form of economic presentation. So nothing different. They are costing us to change the name of our budget team to austerity. Why do we need to do that? Which it just when you make say, SO2, go school, yeah, book. SO2. No, we are not going to school without books. We are going to school with our books. That is what we are talking about, economic austerity. It's simple. So stop referring to us austerity as if a different language. We have been talking about austerity since the days of Pasheki. You are talking about austerity. What you came to do is to politicize austerity. I think I have done enough to educate you on austerity. Coming back to the fact, we don't politicize things. That's why I said the audit report, we didn't politicize it. We make clear the audit report. That's why we have done huge discoveries. We are not vote controllers. We are lawmakers. So coming to this one, I said I will come to the macroeconomic and budgetary performance of this year. He has presented to us. He did not deny that we don't have challenges. He said we have challenges. But they refused to accept the fact that he has made his point clearly to the nation. But he's back into Parliament to make sure that those challenges that we have faced, we are able to solve them. So the thing is very clear. Because he knows what he has achieved. He knows what he has achieved. So when we came in 2018 and read the budget, the next financial year, we said first, let us lay our fiscal statement document. We laid it in Parliament. Today, let them go back and read where we are seeing downward projection in inflation. It's clearly stated. When we, in 2023 and 2024, when he brought in the budget, he said we cannot get down to, as I said earlier on, we cannot get down this budget, the inflation rate to single digit because of the Russia-Ukraine war. And we are laughing. He referred to the recovery of the COVID, and they are laughing. And today, because we have implemented all of those policies, with real strength in terms of economic challenges, we are able to achieve our downward trend in inflation. Thank you very much. These are not things that are different in countries. These are not different. So I make the reference. Let me go back and check the fiscal statement. It's there. They brought all the other. So since he started bringing a document to us that has to do with the economy, he has stated very clearly what we can achieve. I spoke this morning about 7.5%. Today, as you were speaking, it's now 7.1%. And what I did, I consulted a bank governor. I said, are you sure? He said, yes. SO2, so don't go back. You don't want to talk about it? Are they fixing it? My colleague on the other side, he should be sincere to us. He's in the ECOWAS parliament. Our ECOWAS colleagues, the policies, the green they are giving us, they are just from a meeting from the ECOWAS region. Sierra stands very tall in terms of economic policies and what you have been. Oh yes, they are facts. He knows. He knows very well. I read the document. He knows. We cannot be ashamed to say the truth. When our economy gets better, it's for all of us. SO2, if this are the coming block family benefit. No. We are talking about wages, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, he spoke of ECOWAS Parliament and he referred to he said that.
Yeah, ECOWAS Parliament. I said, really, economic policies coming from ECOWAS. Yes. There are good policies coming. The minister can allude to that one. Yes. Don't worry about that one.
No, then let me just make verification, sir. Please, sir. Yes, I feel uneasy when I interject my comrade.
No, go ahead.
The senior comrade of your Radicals Club. What a matter.
All right.
Again, I will be pleased if the leader of government business would make specific reference to the document he is referring to. As an ardent member of the ECOWAS Parliament, I am not yet privy to the document the leader is making reference to. But according to him, Emerson is trying to show him the document. No document. I have not seen it yet. So I don't want a picture to be painted as if I am part of, I have seen the document, I have read the document, I'm telling you to have read the document. So, Mr. Emerson, the right honorable Emerson. The leader, you are allowing him.
Definitely, yes.
Please make sure that you call the page of the document.
Mr. Speaker, maybe let me just refer to SO35. It is clear, it is very clear, my colleague here and my very self can attest. We have a privilege of listening to country reports every year, at least twice. And they can affirm and clear to this public that whenever we listen to country reports, when you talk of standard of living, there is no ECOWAS country, as I speak, where one can use $100 to get 3 bags of rice. No way. But it happens in Sierra Leone. You cannot deny that.
Yes, again, Mr.
Point of order, please.
No, Mr. Leader, let me just. You spoke of country reports. I am in the way of ECOWAS Parliament. When country reports are read, I want to make this essentially clear, Mr. Speaker. I have all the country reports in my possession. And of course, reading is what I do in my leisure. There is no country in which their country report states that $100 can buy 3 bags of rice. I want the member of parliament, the senator, to prove it. There is no country report that has that. So what is just quoting is not from any country report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we are in the sub-region. Most of our policies most of our policies are also, when you talk about the CET, when you talk about our economic policies, we have ratified protocols and treaties that has to do with economic stability. We are also trying to see how best our policies can be in line with other policies within the sub-region. If he's denying, he's going to report, and these ministers and the bank governors attend the meetings of such nature. Talk about how do we stabilize our economy in the sub-region. Let him go and Google for himself. This is the same people talking about increasing wage bills. Increase the wage bill. You say, Mr. Minister, our colleagues are not just sincere with you. Increase the wage bill, and today they are asking you to increase salaries of police officers. They are asking you to increase the wages of police officers. So you see, we sometimes let us stand tall. Who told you that we don't want to increase wages? We want to. It has to do with economic strength. But they politicize it by saying, oh, wage bill. The last time he came here and said, if you are responsible government, you are responsible minister, you increase wage bills because you want to change the lives of our people. You want to make their life better. That's what you do. If there's high inflation, you increase wage bills. He did that one. Today, inflation take a down trend and don't want to give credit to SLPP for that. No, give him credit for that. Give him credit. I will not go into the element driving by inflation. Mr. Speaker, now let me tell you, when you talk about debt, I will not bother myself. But let me go back to the document. You think I'm not going to read it? I'm going to read it. Go back to that document.
What the matter?
All right, go back to Roman page 2 at the Annex 1. Overall deficit cash basis, including grants, under FY 2003 original budget, quarter 1 to quarter 4, it was 4.8%. That has to do 7,450,182. When you cut back down to financial year, right down in financial year of 2025, you see minus 3.8%. So there's huge decrease in terms of our servicing our debt and the budget deficit. We have also addressed that one, and we are trying adequately to address it when that has to do with under the profile, Mr. Speaker, that has to do with our debt. And in fact, in the issue of deficit, Mr. Speaker, we realize that there are factors that are responsible for that, and the minister has just explained to us why are we facing lots of deficits? Why is deficit a challenge for us? As I said, under the macroeconomic performance, I will take you down paragraph 14 rather, paragraph 14, and I will also read paragraph 18. He said, reflecting government fiscal consolidation efforts and the decline in inflation, Treasury bills rate on 364 days government securities declined sharply from 4.3% in the second half of 2024 to 14.8% in June 2025. Hold that one constant, all what we are going through, because they are giving us the theory where we are having challenges. As I said, we need to reckon with him with the challenges that they are facing. Paragraph 18, for the edification of my colleagues on the other side. He said, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, honorable members, reflecting the fall short in domestic revenues, total expenditure and net lending was lower than the projected amount at 14.6 billion, that is 7.5% of GDP. For the first half of 2025, both recurrent and capital expenditure we are less than their respective budgeted amount. So he's saying, as I said, time in, time out, you have explained to us what are our challenges. In as much as there is budget deficit, but what are you doing to make sure that you put down the deficit? There are challenges, shortfall in revenue collection. He has stated that one. We are not denying the fact that there are no games playing. In fact, one of our finance acts we passed in this house, we even urge the minister to talk about digitalization. Mr. Minister, I repeat that one in my presentation to you. We have to take certain measures to make sure we increase on our revenue collection, revenue mobilization. But Mr. Minister, let me take you back. My colleagues are talking about what have we done in terms of collections of our revenue. we talk about the cash register machines, which are usually explained. Let me go read what you said. Page 6. On our revenue mobilization measures for the second half of 2025. Take note of that. You said roll out electronic cash registers, ECR, to additional 5,000 GST registered taxpayers and intensify monitoring of the use. I have read it because I want my colleagues to take it. We have rolled out those machines. And in fact, all of us, it's not just to come and stand to criticize us. People are refusing to use the machines. Let us be patriotic enough. If you shout the economy is not doing good and you're asking for an increase in wages of teachers and police officers, also you have to do your own duty as a patriotic citizen. We have rolled out machines. What is not happening? When you go and do transactions, financial transactions, people don't ask for a GST receipt, Mr. Speaker. They don't ask for it. They don't ask. And that is the way to monitor, also help the government to collect more revenue. But you can come and criticize without providing the solutions. So what we are saying, we are not saying that in collection of these revenue, in terms of revenue mobilization, the cash register machines, we must monitor what is happening. And exactly that is what you have stated. And you said, in line with that one, a use of the machines is very important. And that's what we need to do. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, we came down to revenue mobilization, and you said we even involve the ministers in terms of how do we look at management of our resources in the second half of the year. What they have not told the public, is that you have given figures. These are allocated figures you are giving us. And the figures you are giving us, these are allocated figures. The actual figure that you will talk about is the figure that we give the ministries. These are projections based, depending on day-to-day activities that you get. We are doing a cash flow budget. Cash flow economy. So my colleague was talking about why are we doing more exports? The foreign exchange going out more. We are not highly industrialized countries. We are not. We want what to do, we import. So when you import, you don't import in local currency. You import in foreign currency. That's why you see the high flow, cash flow of the foreign currency based on import. So we are importing more. So what you have done this morning, is to see how best we can reduce our import on agricultural productivity. Check that agreement. The agreement is pointing to the fact that 35 million euro, we are reducing on the importation of these agricultural products, materials. So if we develop our own industries, our own production, it will be better for us more. So we have, as I said, it's always in line what you have brought to us in what your economic policy is talking about. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, let's go back to, he mentioned about under the budgetary performance. The reason why I'm going back and forth is for us to understand that you are not taking the facts away. But the fact that you have done so well, and that is why you are giving the name the team fiscal consolidation. Budgetary performance, paragraph 15, we don't speak for the gallery, we speak to the facts so people understand. So when we go to the public, it's not like a radio discussion. It's like you point to the fact that Mr. Minister has brought documents to Parliament, make a reference to challenges and what we have achieved. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, total domestic revenue collected in the first half of 2025 amounted to 8.9 billion, 4.6% of GDP, recording a shortfall of 646.2 million relative to the target for the period. And further, the projected domestic revenue again was mainly accounted for by the underperformance of goods and services. Mr. Minister, what I have done is to just point to the fact that if you want to have a huge increment in domestic revenue, most of these things that we have talked about, and talking about domestic mobilization, talk about the cash register machines, talk about the machines that you have rolled out. And these machines that we have rolled out, we should also assist in making sure that we pick up how do we GST be collected? How do we improve on our revenue mobilization? It's not a political statement. These are facts. All over the world, people don't want to pay tax. That's why we said, you take certain areas, for example, the custom area, which we normally refer to as Wataki. We have made that point here on several occasions. We can automate the system. Automation is the best way we can go. It's not when you shout. We have been on this from time immemorial. We have talked about this cash flow. Too much of cash flow is giving us problems. So reduce the cash flow, and we see what we can do. And let me tell you, Mr. Speaker, in the cash transfer in terms of the digital system, you reduce the level of people pay a lot of cash and cost production. And also urging your target. If you have automated system, Mr. Minister, you don't need to set your target. You pay for cash. For beer, talking about custom transactions, you don't do cash transfers direct. It's very automated. And so you monitor what is going on. But what you are doing, some people are doing part automated, like talking about their scooter. We see things are going down. Recently, people have called and said they have interfered with the machine. We have heard about that all over the place. But we encourage you to do automation. And when you do automation, that will be better for us. And when we push forward, we have a better revenue collection. It's not always shouting. It's not our politics. We cannot change the dynamics of our economy unless we try to do the right thing by putting in place mechanisms that will stop the issue of fraud and also interfering with cash flows and collecting money for their own personal benefits. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, let me remind you again about when we said we have given a lot of concessions to agreements. Concessions to agreements. You by page 7, Roman number 8, page 7. You said follow up on ongoing investigations on concessions agreements of such indirect taxpayers to ensure full compliance with the provisions of the agreement. I think, Mr. Minister, we need, as Parliament, we need to assist you in this one. The last time I said we are giving too much of concessions, tax concessions. And are we really following? In section 110 of our constitution, we are very clear that we have the right, the sole right to make sure that you give concessions. So even the fiscal regime, in terms of this agreement, the GST are not giving free flow. They are limited at a particular point in time when the GSTs are given. You monitor if actually compliance. These are our own as a way to incentive for the investors to come in. But what is happening really? It's like it's continuing for the lifetime of the agreement. No, sometimes GST are given for limited period, sometimes for 2 years, and the agreement lasts for 10 years. Sometimes the agreement lasts for 20 years and case may be. Especially when our police and government, they can give GSTs for adults. They gave on waivers of tax. Waiving tax all over GST. So, Mr. Minister puts it to us. We really need to go back and look at some of these agreements. And these agreements can help us in the mobilization of our revenue, our domestic revenue. And we cannot really. It's not embarrassing at all. It's just your own perception of looking at energy, the energy flow.
No, leader, please, sir.
From Taban, let me continue, sir. Mr. Speaker,
this is not in relation to the. What happened just now is a changeover from generator to the normal MP. So when those changeovers are done, we should communicate with Parliament so that they don't cut at the middle of the speech of the leader. It's not true.
Mr. Speaker, I think I need not go about it. I know the mechanism, so I need not to go with it. I don't need assistance. I did not complain at all. And I was not shouting too.
Leader of the opposition, why are you tormenting the leader of the opposition?
You cannot torment me, you know very well. Mr. Speaker.
What the matter?
All right, man. Mr. Speaker, what I've done, I've tried to read as much as I can to clarify certain issues. Because I'm not playing to the gallery. When I even mention about debt waivers and this, I refer to the bank. When I talk about making policies that we can, I refer to a document in front of us. When I talk about inflation going down, I refer to a document that they brought to us. This very minister, this futuristic minister. Today inflation is 7.1%. Why can't you praise him? Why do we need to lie? Why don't you accept the fact? We brought in a formula. Now let me go to the fact and intertwine them. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, we talked about when rice was going up. Rice was going up. Today I've seen them clamoring. SO2. The petrol price was left another. Mr. Speaker, I was over there. I want people to listen carefully. Well, I was over there. They brought from gallons to liters. I said, why are we changing it? They say it's a standard measurement all over the world. Who told you that? No, it's who told you that. That's what they brought. We said, no, leave it like that. You go to other places. America is gallons. They are using gallonage. They are using gallonage. You challenge that one. Today, they are shouting, where is that? No. They are shouting about it. It's too late. We have depoliticized petroleum products in this country. Give kudos to the minister. We have depoliticized petroleum products. Today people are fighting over prices. We are now bluffing around. Mr. Speaker said, he called me meetings at State House at his office. They are now fighting themselves. Today the person will say, I'm going to sell 20 loads for liter. We are going to sell 23 loads for liter. When we took governance, they are doing artificial scarcity. We have stopped that one today. There is today competitiveness in the market. That's how it should be. We have done you know, let me be reminded again of something. Mr. Speaker, the last time, you know the advantage I have. I was in the opposition. I was over there when I was talking about group war. When policies are group war, you see the effect on it. Today, transportation has gone down. Transportation is down. You don't refuse that one. You shall be very careful in coming to the politics of it. I started with the policies and now the politics of it. Now, today, when we argue, you know, I travel with the Minister of Trade. I said the oil companies, they are calling all over the place, and they came to us. We meet you, we have to have price stability. No, there's already price stability. There is a cap which the minister and his team, they said 27. The formula is there. The formula speaks for itself. Today, we have gone down drastically. So comparing times in the 80s and comparing times now, no. When I was doing my presentation for the ratification, I used the chemistry formula. If you study chemistry, it's very simple. You always expect a positive outcome. If you put hydrogen plus oxygen together, under normal circumstances, you will get water. H2O water. Now, Mr. Speaker, you know what you have done? What we are doing? Our policies coming from the good policies that we talked about, going to governance. When circumstances are not normal, when we are not normal, we are not able to achieve the inflation to go down. But because now, under normal temperature and pressure, we are being able to have fiscal stability. Therefore, the bank governor and his team, the minister supervising them, will not have inflation going up based on fiscal policy municipalities. Now, coming to this one now, we said when you take petroleum products downwards in terms of pricing, downwards. We are talking about the downstream issue. Downwards in terms of pricing, you expect transportation to go down also. Now today, we have seen transportation has gone down because the petroleum products, they have gone down drastically. So in fact, SO2 Kukuri self will go down now. Kukuri self will go down. It is on social media. If we use social media to bastardize government, let us use social media to elevate the government. Let's just talk good about them. So the issue of Kukuri SO2 will go down. Transportation has gone down. Petrol price has gone down. Mr. Speaker, when we brought in a formula about rice, in November, the time they attempted the coup, I heard the audience all over social media, Mr. Minister. They said, we will come and push SO2 because rest they go 1 million less for bad. That's what they said. Yet and others, when they left the prisons, they said rest they go down for 1 million less. I was there in the meeting. We brought in the formula, Minister of Trade, Chief Minister. When we brought in the formula today, rice is 650. We are not talking about the low grade rice. We are talking about the upgrade. Not low grade, upgrade. Upgrade. So if you are saying we don't play wishy-washy business in terms of governance. We have stayed in governance and APC, but we have done better things than APC governance. It's on record. Simple education. Today we are going to talk about education too much. You said we are doing, there is more rice, there is no support to subsidies. You said we cannot achieve in getting a free quality education. We cannot achieve it. You have never supported us. There is no time she can see our colleagues on the other side talking good about the free quality education. What they do.
Points of order, Mr. Speaker. The leader is saying that the opposition has never supported government in the free education policy. That sounds as if the opposition in parliament is undermining government, which is very bad to the hearing of the public. But again, let me use myself as a typical example. As a member of the opposition, because of the free education policy, I had a free school in Leone, where I am paying all the fees for the kids, where I am buying uniform for all of them, including school bags for all of them. I am feeding them, all of this is just to complement the free education.
Okay, thank you.
I did it, and in my opening, I said that categorically clear that this is just mimicking of the free education. The school is there. They graduated this person today. And we know that free because of our support.
Mr. Speaker, you know, sometimes when you talk about it's deliberate. You have 100 times, I repeat it 100 times. They have never supported us. I say it. The reason why I'm saying this, when we talk about free, I'm not talking about agree. Government is paying school fees for your people. We are talking about government effort, not your effort. You said we cannot succeed, and we use domestic revenue to pay for the free and quality education. When we started our administration, we used domestic revenue mobilization. We were able to roll out the free and quality education. Today you see buses all over. The place we take students all over the state. They can still criticize us. They cannot accept. But let me come to the fact. As I said, they do not accept. So you want me to say? Thank you. Mr. Speaker, that's just pointed to the fact that it's a pointer to the fact that they can never support. Whether it's good, you said they will just close their mouths and you say nothing about it. What you are doing is private. All of us are doing it. I said you have not supported government in this free and quality. That is what you are doing. It's not a support. It's a way to build a whole political capital. If you want to support government, first you have to make it very clear that government is doing well in the free and quality education. And you have to make your point. Now let's come to the point where he talked about. Said there is no allocation to the local councils. There's no allocation. Mr. Speaker, you see, I like when you are speaking, you point to the facts. When you said there's no allocation, I remember reading the social media, I saw the payment to local council. Funds to local council. The funds I've given you for Tongolili, you said there is no funds allocated since the start of financial year 2025. I have the facts here reading update payment of the devolved grants to local councils at 2025. I will just say Tongolili, fire, rural water, agriculture, primary health, secondary health, and primary health. 2,220,765,000. That is how to do with the primary health care. For secondary health care, you are giving 813,000. That is the new money. Mr. Speaker, you know, we don't just
Mr. Speaker, you know it's Nigeria. But I want to rise on SO 3213, sir. What I said was in 2025, what was paid was rollover of 2024, was the only one paid in this year. What was allocated for 2025 budgetary year, not a cent has been paid to local councils to date.
Mr. Speaker, I think you have the document in front of you. I'm not going to open argument for that. It's clear. You said not a dime has been given to our country. So, why are you so weary?
The same point.
Mr. Speaker, what you are saying, just as we do, we have for Parliament, You are giving revenues. We are giving revenues given to you. You have to be clear in mind. We are all over. When we are talking about austerity, I said even in America, when we talk about it's happening. You see, they are cutting down on monies given to colleges. It's a form of austerity. But we did not politicize it, and they do. They are not politicizing it. President Trump is doing it, but they are not politicizing it. They are talking about policies. So coming back to us, you said we are not giving any money. So why are you not trying to qualify it? So no debate for that. I just put the fact that money you are giving. We had it all over. Even when he said it, the director of the local councils, they are all here. They are looking at ourselves. I will not give any money to them.
They are not the right.
So, and they are what?
They are not the right.
I don't know.
35
But the reality,
Mr. Speaker, honorable members,
they are not in acceptance.
in making our economic policies really outstanding, to be in line with what the minister has said, account ownership from 2017, that it was at 20% under their own regime, to say that we are being no fiscal stability. We now have 38% individual account ownership. Those who own accounts from 20% to not 38%. Why you don't have to give credit to these ones? So that's why we're talking about fiscal stability and consolidation, not anything else. And as I said, I talked to you about making the system automated, which will be good for all of us. And let me also draw your attention to something that I would like you to do. If it's cash transfers, we said in managing our revenues, we urge that the bank will reduce our transfers, so that if we really try to push for a better transfer in terms of digitalization, it will be better for all of us, which I've told you now. So I really want you to explain to us, if you can now, what do we do in maintaining in terms of revenue mobilization? If we can really have this one integrated system where we can force people to do more bank transfer account visa system instead of being cash to cash flow, which creates difficulties and sometimes problems for us. But when I went through the banking system, I mean, we have not talked about private sector, but everything we are doing with what the positive outcome of our budgetary performance today is because of the policies which we have incorporated in the private sector. Now, when there is stress in the market, what a bank is doing, the bank of Israel is doing now, they are even giving facility to when there is market stress with our private sector. You can go to the bank, they can assess you, and they can help you in solving a problem. So when there is stress, market stress, the bank is also open to people so that they can help them to solve some of the problems. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, as I said in my opening presentation, we have done our best to make sure that what are the shocks? What are the shocks? Explain under the macroeconomic performance. And what our gains, we have also explained that. And what we need to do is to increase our oversight responsibilities. It's not only putting everything to the minister. We have the chairman of the finance committee, the transparency committee. So even all members in our debate that we need to have more cash monitoring machines, but we need to see how best we can improve them. If people are not using it, what do we do? If people are not using it, what do we do to make sure that we succeed in having the revenue mobilization under domestic mobilization very well, that we can meet up to our expectation? Finally, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, in bringing supplementary budget, it's not because we are afraid of what is happening. It's to push in where our challenges are, and we can be able to meet out what we can solve at the short possible time. That's why it's coming 6 months down the line. And he has explained what is the target. Allocated figures can also be reviewed. These are not figures that they are going to give you, because these are allocated figures. These are what they are projected, and they are anticipating that if more revenues are available, that is why they have brought in series of measures that they can put in place. And they are explaining to us what they have achieved also. In what they have achieved, if we follow that one with strict fiscal discipline, I think we can help you to make sure that you achieve your supplementary budget in front of us. Thank you very much. Thank you for bringing the budget to us. And we are very supportive of you and your policies. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Leader of Government Business. Yes, Mr. Minister.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, honorable members. The debate is very lively, and I think I've taken keen notes of areas of commendation, concerns, and I'll provide clarification and justification for what we're doing. The theme of the budget, with all due respect, but also being sincere to what we do in the running of a state and an economy, we couch them appropriately. And I have, in my speech, alluded to the reasons why we are coming with the supplementary budget. When we approached last year, I did say three things. That we presented the budget on assumptions, and I'll make those assumptions very clear. First, we assume that inflation will be projected around 20%. And then we assume that the currency will have depreciated to 30 leones to the dollar. But also, at the same time, we had interest rates at 41%. Those numbers have all fundamentally changed for good, fundamentally. So, and I'll give you just what they mean for the budget numbers we presented in November. So for goods and services, if you had projected your spending on goods and services, and I'd said you have made your projections on the 20% inflation, but your inflation turned out to be 7%. Even if you maintain the same level of spending, that number has reduced phenomenally. That's a serious shift in the numbers. It's the same thing for currency. If you have projected that you're going to raise revenue, your taxes coming from customs, but are going to be hinged on the 30 leone to the dollar, you have actually phenomenally overprojected your expected revenues coming from customs. And you have a stable exchange rate at 22 instead of 30. Right? So, and then it's the same thing for interest rates. Your interest rates were at 40%, 41, and now they are at 15, 16. All those numbers in the macro framework, they are fundamentally shifted. And therefore, we started seeing that manifest in the way we collected revenues and in the way we are seeing those shortfalls, plus other matters that have to do with administrative compliance and enforcement. So by constitution, and the responsibility given to the ministry to come back to Parliament, and assuring the credibility of our framework that is approved here, it behoves to come back as a ministry and seek that authorization to be able to have the appropriate appropriation that it will be seen to exhibit budget credibility by the end of the year when we close the year. That's why we are here. And I use the word consolidation, not austerity, because of many reasons. We're not increasing taxes. We're not asking for that to raise revenue. No. We're doing administrative compliance. We're doing enforcement. We're increasing on the way we tighten up the system. We are not creating tax increases because we believe the taxes that have been, policies that have been passed will be adequately enough to be able to ensure that they support our budget if we implement them appropriately. So that's one. Second, when you say austerity, what we call fundamentals, they will not be in the way you really expect them to be. There are goods, all the goods and services we don't have shortages in this country. Whether it's for rice, for fuel, for flour, for sugar, you name them. But even for all the other essential commodities in market, their prices are fundamentally firm, month by month below 1%. That's the underlying fundamental indicator we are looking at. And we are not even worried about it. Our projections in the macro team that is managing the economy, we are very confident that we have had inflation under grip. Right? So that's not an austerity indicator at all. Same for the currency. And for currency, yes, for currency, we should understand that what we have is a completely different environment. Yes, it's a different macroeconomic environment with currencies, where we had adjustments in the entire fundamental. So we have a complete reset with new equilibrium established for the currency. The responsibility with macro management, and even for people who are doing businesses in the country, what they will want to see is that at the current exchange rate, that you are maintaining it within reasonable band. And like I said, for some months we don't have appreciation, but for the 1 year where we have been observing the currency, only 1% depreciation. So that's, for business people, very positive. We are looking at books of companies in the country. Check companies, the banks that we know, all of them have been running profits, and phenomenal profits. And it's the same thing with businesses that are across the country. So overall, you don't have, how they call it, a very difficult macroeconomic environment, right? It is not there, and it is something that you can attest to by the people out there, by businesses. That's the feedback we get, but those are the numbers that we are reading. So that's why we said, for these gains that we have made, you want to ensure that when these numbers have changed, upon which you came and said your projections are the following, honorable members of parliament, give us this authorization on these assumptions. I have to come back to say the assumptions have shifted, but the truth is this: they have shifted in a very solid environment where our responsibility is to hold up those gains. It's a completely different dynamics, and therefore those gains have meaning. They have meaning for what? Should we maintain the gains if the fiscal projections we have here are not increasing? If anything, they are improving, and they are improving in a very solid way. For the last 3 years, we have been having solid 1 percentage point reduction in deficit. And our primary deficit has been improving. We believe we will be able to register surpluses. So we are not dealing with an austerity environment at all, where there is chaos in prices, shortages of goods and services, and what we call distortions in your macro fundamentals that require you to do the kind of adjustments. Those adjustments have been done in the last couple of years, and the result that we have, it behoves us to maintain them and sustain them over a reasonable period of time. First, close this year appropriately, but second, make sure that you continue for next year. I'll give you an example.
Mr. Minister, Honorable Speaker, honorable members of Parliament, I stand on SO 52 so that the business of the House will continue. I suspend SO 52.
Any seconder? What's wrong with your mic?
I so second, Mr. Speaker.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Proceed, Mr. Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, honorable members. So, we say fiscal consolidation because that is what we have exhibited. Budget credibility because we have to come back to Parliament, follow Constitution and law as per changes in the assumption and bring them there, and say the macro framework have been revised to reflect the current macro fundamentals. But also ensure that you maintain this stability, sustain it for a reason. In the last couple of years, we have had approvals by our international partners, both the IMF, both the World Bank, and the EU, and others, where our projected flows from them in terms of direct contribution to the budget are hinged on us ensuring that we meet the fundamentals that we had agreed on. When these things change, the responsibility of the team is to ensure that you do all of these changes, come back and secure all the authorization for appropriation. So that's the reason why we brought this. Now, when you look at details, because I had a lot of other concerns on the details of the spending, where there are changes, and in the appropriation projections that we are preparing, there are big highlights. The big highlights are, one, on the revenue side. When the revenue adjusts The revenue adjustments are for many reasons. Like I said, changes in assumptions, but also administrative responsibility for compliance, responsibility for enforcement, but also I hear from the floor, responsibility for re-engineering technologies to do what? Enhance the uptake of revenues from within the system. And I agree with you. We've been doing the same for many of the tax levers, and that's what we will continue. We are doing GST. We are increasing 5,000 new machines to go into people who are eligible for putting those machines on their businesses. The next point is simple, is to ensure that those machines are used. So you have to do compliance and enforcement, that they are used and you're able to track their performance. There are other technologies that were approved by this House. There is the NSOP technology that tracks what the telecoms sector is actually paying in terms of their turnover in the use of telecoms, but also the taxes that are due from their turnover in terms of GST and the royalties they are supposed to pay. We want to ensure that we track those effectively. Same for SIGPA, that is doing track and trace, both for molecular marking of petroleum products, but also accessible goods that are actually produced locally and imported into the country. Those we have machines that are actually tagged onto every production line in this country. The data is available. We will ensure that that data speaks to the volume of cash that is due us in taxes. I had the same thing with customs, where the Asikida system, I believe, is currently compromised. We are trying to have a hybrid system where we will bring in a system that runs hybrid with the Asikida, but takes people's hands off our money and are able to get our monies right into the banks. So those systems are being worked on, but also integrating all of this system that we can use data analytics to be able to ensure that values that are due us in terms of taxes, we're able to collect them. On the expenditure side, when you have those shortfalls on revenue, for the credibility of the budget, adjustments must be made. Truth is this, yes. The truth is this. Thank you. The truth is this.
Sorry, sir.
Yes.
Sorry, please. Mr. Speaker, we know the Minister is making some points, and we also feel your comment. Some of these issues just need to go away from us. We also just go in quietly. You know you are doing the restructuring project. So don't shout it. Quietly.
That's what you, the government bench should have done. Leave it to the minister to handle some of these issues.
Yes. So when you have a shortfall in revenue to the tune of 1 billion, that's huge, and it's a phenomenal shift in the original appropriation. Now, for you to be able to maintain the same level of deficit that has been approved, or even better, in terms of fiscal consolidation, you have to do adjustments within the framework. The adjustment is not a austerity adjustment. The adjustment is an adjustment of fiscal discipline. And in the fiscal discipline, on the recurrent budget, we have maintained largely the recurrent budget framework, meaning we are providing goods and services, transfers, and they are all maintained. We try to ensure that we exhibit discipline by adjusting capital spending downwards. This is discipline for many reasons. For the second half of the year, more than half of the second half of the year is the rainy season. And we are just conceptualizing rationalization of expenditure during the second half of the year. Our contractors are not doing roads, they are not doing water services. This is not the time that you pump a lot of money into real infrastructure spending. The infrastructure spending effectively takes place within 6 months of the year. The latter part of the year, but also the earlier part of the next year. That's where you should ramp up. So we look at the seasonality of that spending. And that's how we said, if in the course of this year, we have to consolidate the budget, and we need to adjust. capital spending are the right place to do, especially those that are sitting on the domestic budget. So we will utilize all the spending that are coming through donor-funded infrastructure projects. So projects on those bridges will continue, projects on water system done by partners will continue, projects on things done by energy by partners will continue. But for those that are coming from our budgets, we believe these are things that we can limit the spending on and be able to shift them for the new budget that is coming next year. So that's the reason why we did this, not in a way to create, so we still maintain our budget as a people-centered budget. We'll spend on education, local government will get their transfers. Their transfer will definitely come in the second half of the year, fully to allow them to be able to deliver on the services for people. So those will happen. And I did hear concerns around spending in the office of the president. Let me address this. And it is consistent with the PFM Act, but also the Constitution. The budget appropriated is a one-year budget. If in the course of the budget, the minister deems that there is need for adjustment by virtue of how the original appropriation has shifted, you have to come back to Parliament and secure revisions to that appropriation up or down within the schemes and receive the authorization to be able to close the rest of the year. So what I did here is to come back and secure, based on the outcome of the original budget that is presented, to say there are shifts in lines, but the overall framework remains the same, but there are shifts in lines that require for me to secure the appropriate powers and authorization. So that when the budget is executed for the whole year, I have the responsibility to say I have delivered on the budget as approved. But for the office of the president, there are fundamental responsibilities that emerged in the course of the year. And same so for the office of the chief minister. The United Nations responsibility of this government is a serious responsibility. The CETA responsibility a serious responsibility. The ECOWAS chairmanship responsibility a serious responsibility. But equally so, all the prior engagements to be able to secure the full MCC again, these are all serious responsibilities. But also there is a current engagement on constitutional review and also the tripartite committee engagement on both sides of the aisle. To be able to ensure that our responsibility for upholding all democratic tenets of this country are something that we ensure that the government takes very seriously and implements. All of these are spending in the budget that we believe when there are shifts in the allocations, we come back and secure the respective powers from Parliament. So those are the drivers, to be very sincere, they are the drivers for this. But like I said, I did hear questions about justification for why are we spending on IPPs? Well, the IPP is energy. Energy is the driver of growth in the economy. We cannot live with blackouts. One-day blackouts, excuse me, SO2, they will say, one-day blackouts that will put confusion in the country. You can't afford it, yes. So you can't afford one-day blackouts. Yes, one day, yes, a day of blackouts is a problem. The delivery of power in the country is unbundled. It is done by IPPs, independent power providers. We have power purchase agreements with them. And for those power purchase agreements, they come with responsibility. EDSA lags behind in the collection of its revenues. EDSA's financial sustainability and reforms have to be enhanced. In the course we provide subsidy. We need to account for those subsidies in the budget and ensure that those IPP, their responsibilities are honored. That's why we prioritize them, so that you get power drives growth. It's the same thing that has to do with I hear you talk about reserves and all the like. Well, we have a responsibility to build reserves. That's why we are very frontal with it. And we are very clear on the reasons why some of the reserve levels have actually dwindled. But we in the economic management team are very much confident that in the course of the year, we will be able to mobilize the needed reserves to be able to meet the minimum threshold of 3 months of import cover. I don't think that's too much of a problem, but it goes beyond just the normal traditional way of mobilizing reserves through disbursement from grants or budget support resources that are coming in, or project grants that are coming into the country, or projects funded by international partners. This country, we have to ensure that our natural resources are effectively harnessed to bring in real revenue to the treasury and into the reserves of the central bank. That's a big job that we are doing, and I think we'll require the support of this House to continue to do them. But reserve mobilization is an effort that we are closely looking at. Reserve build-up is something we are looking at with the central bank on how to ensure that we build reserve at reasonable levels. I did mention debt, because the debt service is one of the binding responsibility in the budget management, and we cannot be quiet about it. But there is an effective debt management strategy that we are putting in place to ensure that the domestic debt is brought at levels that we believe are sustainable. And that's what I alluded to in the report, that one, the structure of our domestic debt is on the short end, where 75% of the debts are one-year maturities. Well, you have to reprofile that, and the reprofiling, I think, is a prudent responsibility to do what? To ensure that you ease the pressure on debt servicing. It may not necessarily immediately bring down the stock, but it eases the pressure on the budget on debt service. So you have to introduce instruments that lengthen that maturity. That means bonds. You have to issue out 2, 3, 5, 10-year bonds, and those ones eases up the pressure on the government. So you make, in that way, you're going to make your debt sustainable. The responsibility is to have a sustainable debt that you know you'll be able to manage within your budget framework without too much stress. So that's the whole reason. And over time, the stock of the debt itself, we can have a way of managing it once the entire pressure on the debt service has been reduced. So I put there a lot of policies or strategic measures that we are going to undertake. And I think these are prudent actions to take in the immediate term, so that at least we have a very, very solid cushion that can assure us of what we call macro stability and the consolidation of the budget. Right, so this document that we presented, which is a half-year budget, is really underpinned by, first, the law, second, the fundamentals that have correctly shifted, which we believe has changed the framework that we are presenting to Parliament, that guide the projections we expect for the rest of the year. Third, so the adjustments that you have seen, I heard you talk about adjustments on feed, salon, and the like. Those adjustments are done prudently for a reason. We are not cutting on the interventions themselves that are very relevant to boost agricultural productivity. No. We are cutting on the areas, and this is in consultation with the ministries. We are cutting on the area where we know right now it's not where the needs are. So for extension services, for example, we reduced a little bit much more on there, but we invested in the real areas of building those projects that are in the 6 ecological area. We didn't cut on those. Same, you talk about youth and the like. I mean, we are currently discussing the next budget for next year. This is basically a half-year budget now to run the rest of the year. For the next year budget, all of these adjustments will be taking place because the consultations for the new budget and the call circular is out. The policies, the program, all those things that they want to embed into next year budget to be considered. But for 2025, the gains that we have made so far, I think these are gains that must be maintained. And I want to really call on the House to give keen consideration to these ones and appreciate what we are doing. And we're doing everything within the law. But that this country, what we have done is commendable as a government with the fundamentals that we have. And I know in the sub-region, my colleagues are actually appreciative of how far we have gone with some of these good results. I appreciate it's a debate, and it is a lively debate, and we take note of all the critique or the areas that we must look at, and we will consider that in the following budget that is coming for next year. But for this year, as it is, the gains that we have made are also be able to exhibit to our international partners that we are serious about exhibiting budget credibility. We are actually serious about sustaining the gains that we have had so that we can claw in all of these resources that we have actually been able to secure through all our international engagements, that the current budget that we have presented to you is timely, and I think it's well justified for your gracious approval. On that note, Mr. Speaker, I move again that the bill entitled the Supplementary Appropriation Act 2025 being an act to make provisions, revisions and supplementary provisions for the services of Sierra Leone for the year 2025 be read the second time. Thank you.
Honourable members, at this stage, I wish to also recognize the presence of Mr. Yankuba Askiabio, Director General of SLPPA. Stand up to be recognized. I also recognize the presence of Mr. Martin Mada George, Company Secretary of SLPPA. I recognize the presence of Mr. Andrew T. Pulum, Director of Finance, SLPPA. You are heartily welcome to the House of Parliament. Honourable members, the question is that the bill entitled the Supplementary Appropriation Act 2025 be read the second time. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
The bill entitled the Supplementary Appropriation Act 2025 being an act to make revisions and supplementary provisions for the services of Sierra Leone for the year 2025 has been read the second time. Committee speak.
Mr. Clark. Proceed.
Clauses 1 to 5 and the schedule stand part of the bill.
Chairman, honourable members, I move that clauses 1 to 5 and the schedule stand part of the bill.
Honourable members, the question is that clauses 1 to 5 and the schedule stand part of the bill. Roman figure 1, page 1, sorry. Page 1, short title, long title. Page 2. Honourable members, page 1 and 2, page 3.
Page 3, yes, under Roman number 1, side note commencement, where you have therefore, now therefore, comma, be it enacted by the President and members of Parliament.
Yes, class, take note.
Be it enacted by the President and members of Parliament.
Including President.
Yes.
Clark. Noted. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5.
Mr. Chairman, sorry to take you back. I just stand with you. Page 2, the first line.
Page 2, first line. Yes.
Whereas it has become necessary to revise, I think we
Yeah, delete the D. You are right. Page 2, 3, 4.
yes, I'm sure the one in the issue on page 3 has already been written.
Yes. Page 4. Honorable members, page 5. Page 6. Page 7. Page 8. Page 9. Ten, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, 15.
15, yes.
Probably I just want to confirm for the allocation for development activities for the youth empowerment, whether it means achievement 0 or not.
0, 0. Mr. Minister, address
Not for the youth.
listen to the minister. Let the minister address. Maybe FS, you may want to talk with your minister.
Probably it was a mistake.
Talk with your minister.
An amount is allocated already for that you guys allocated.
Is there actually intended to be 0?
There is what it means. There is no addition.
No addition.
Yes.
So does that make you happy, Honorable Aaron Kuma?
Mr. Speaker, you know, for as long as it comes from the minister, if I'm happy, I'm happy.
Mr. Speaker, I think we can do some reconstruction
Yes.
of the allocation and later on our supplementary by the minister.
Next time you know how to debate in this way.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, you know, our hands are tied by Section 40 of the BFM Act.
Yes.
But I believe very so that vote 429, we need to improve the allocation on the supplementary, considering the importance of 429. But our hands are tied by Section 40 of the BFM Act, and we cannot increase. But I believe it is something that will change and improve on most of the variables that have been mentioned in the debate, because it is a low-hanging fruit and it is something that we must work on quickly.
We take from the president's objectors. We take from the president's allocation.
Or contingency. We take from contingency.
You cannot adopt that one because the figure you are seeing is brought to this well by the very chairman of the board. Yes, Mr. Minister, do you want to address us on anything?
Let's proceed as represented.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Minister.
Mr. Chairman, honorable members, I move that clauses 1 to 5 and the schedule stand part of the bill as amended.
Honorable members, the question is that clauses 1 to 5 and the schedule stand part of the bill as amended. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Clauses 1 to 5 and the schedule form part of the bill as amended. The House is. What is it?
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I report that the bill entitled the Supplementary Appropriation Act 2025, having gone through the Committee of the Whole House with amendments, I now move that the bill be read the third time and passed into law.
Honorable members, the question is that the bill entitled the Supplementary Appropriation Act 2025 be read the third time and passed into law. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
The bill entitled the Supplementary Appropriation Act 2025 being an act to make revisions and supplementary provision for the services of Sierra Leone for the year 2025 has been read the third time and passed into law.
Thank you very much, Mr. Minister. You've done quite well. And let me, on behalf of this House and Sierra Leone, thank you profusely for a job well done. You are managing the resources of this country and the economy of this country with able hands. You know, even if no other person says that, I think I have enough capacity to say that, and we are seeing some positive improvements, and we urge you to continue along those lines. Thank you very much. You may go. Honorable members, I am to inform you that we are actually going to adjourn this meeting to Tuesday, the 2nd. But let me inform you that immediately after before sitting on Tuesday, we know the sitting is at 10 a.m. prompt. But when we come, before the commencement of any business, I want this House to meet in Committee Room 1 for very serious discussions relating to the affairs of this House and the well-being of members of Parliament. So we'll have a meeting, we'll sit, the moment just after the relevant preliminaries. We'll be going to Committee Room 1 to meet and arrive at certain relevant conclusions before we come back. This is just to inform you. Thank you very much. Yes.
Announcement. This notice serves to inform honorable members of the Parliamentary Youth Caucus that there will be a meeting in the Speaker's Conference Room immediately after the parliamentary sitting. Signed, Acting Clerk of Parliament. Honorable members of the SLPP are kindly informed that a very important meeting has been scheduled to take place immediately after today's sitting. The meeting will be held in Committee Room 1. Your punctual attendance is highly requested. So
this sitting is adjourned to Tuesday, the 5th of August. Sorry, not the 2nd. The 5th of August, 2025 at 10 a.m. prompt.